Hello, everybody, and welcome to Football Manager 26 here on the channel. Of course, I'm Stuart. We're going to be playing internationally, and the goal here is to be primarily an international only manager, right? And we are going to be managing in Lebanon, which plays in Asia, currently ranked 108th in the world. Nationally, I don't believe they've ever won anything. And Lebanon's obviously a country in real life in a lot of turmoil right now. There's the war going on. There's the divided government, right, between Hamas and the government itself. So at least that's my understanding as an outsider. And I'm not saying that that's perfect. So we are going to be played as Lebanon here. And again, like the goal is, I want to be able to not necessarily like have Lebanon win the World Cup one day, because like that probably is not going to happen. But the goal is to get a character is like, okay, well, maybe I start out at Lebanon, right? And then let's say I have a little bit of success. And let's say, for example, maybe it's the Iraq job, or maybe it's the Egyptian job, or the Tunisia job comes open, and they're like, yeah, you can come here. And then let's say, we make a couple World Cups, or, do well enough. And then let's say, the Denmark job opens or something like that, right? That's kind of the goal. Now, if I end up having to like manage a club team because we get fired, or that's something that'll play out at that particular time. But the initial goal is to be international only, and call it World Cup fever, call it whatever you want, right? So we are going to be playing as Lebanon. They're known as the Cedars, and we're going to load in the game database. So we're going to step away. I am going to load in just about every league and nation into the database, because again, in case I do have to take a club job, I want to be able to manage several different locations. So we're going to do that. Then we'll come back when we are going to be kind of creating our manager. We are going to change the date though. Yeah, to later in July, right? Later in July of 2025. All right, so thank you everybody, and I will be back in just a moment. So we are back here on the head coach creation now that we have the database loaded in. And we are going to have a dual national manager. Okay. We'll go there. Okay. We'll go there. We'll say we're 6'3". Yeah, let's make ourselves more by height. It's about 6'5". All right. Well, yeah, we could deal with that. Attire wise, sure, we can go with that. That'll work. We're going to call ourselves Lath Dubois. And we are going to give ourselves my real life birthday of September 22nd and 1984. Ah, there we go. All right. So, where were we born? You know what? We'll say we are actually Lebanese. So, there we go. Or a nationality, sorry. right? So we were born in Lebanon, and of course we'll say we're from Beirut. Now we are gonna have like I said, um, we will also be French. So we'll say, just from story perspectives, we have a Lebanese father and a Lebanese mother and a French father. Yeah. And then, so languages spoken. I'm going to think about this for a second, so I'm going to pause and I'll be right back. So we're obviously going to start with Arabic as our primary language, but we are also going to be able to speak French, and then English is also widely spoken in Lebanon, so we'll be able to speak 3 languages. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to add a 4th language, but I think that gives us a good linguistic dialogue and ability to speak to most people. So, I'm 41 years old. How well was I known for my playing career? I'll say I was a domestic champion. Right? You got consistently contributed to the winning of domestic. No, we were just a top tier contender. Top tier contender. There we go. Coaching, I'll say I've been. Okay, I'll say I've been a domestic head coach, sure. And how well known am, and I was recognized in my own nation. Right. Because I think that makes sense. Like, if you're going to get the national team job, you need to be somewhat well known. You don't need to be necessarily famous, but somewhat. We will have a national A license, so I have a regional reputation, which kind of fits, right? It does kind of fit. I'm going to try to develop youth players. We're going to build a system, and we want to play with energy. And then I want to be resilient and driven. Lebanon set to appoint Laith Dubois, 48-year-old Lebanese head coach Laith Dubois, said to be known as Lebanon's new boss, in a move that many expect to see the team injected with a renewed energy, with a focus on possession-based soccer and a prioritization on developing young players. Driven and resilient, Dubois will join the Cedars in a move that will intrigue many within the game, and insiders are confident that his traits are well suited to building the sort of culture needed in order to deliver success. A familiar face from his top-flight playing career, he is also known across Lebanon for his coaching work. With this new and exciting opportunity, the next step in his career. 5.8 million people. And you can see we are loading the game. It is a large database. Because again, it may end up being a save where, we're in the national management for a while, and then we're like, there's this amazing opportunity to go manage in, Poland, right, domestically, or somewhere in South America, or maybe it's the Egypt domestic scene, right? I'm not entirely sure, but the initial outset is to make a long run, an international management in FM26, which, hopefully in FM27, it's even more in depth. I do think this is better than some previous versions of FM, but when it comes to international management and FM, that's not necessarily the highest of bars, right? Like, that's not, like, it's good that it's an improvement, don't get me wrong, but it's also not saying, hey, this is like outstanding and the best thing ever, because it's not. But I'm still very excited. If this loading takes too much longer, I will pause and then we'll come back when it's ready to go. I believe they play. So there's the Asia Cup. I think there's the Arab Cup as well. So, one of the reasons why I chose Lebanon essentially is just because there's like multiple, competitions in Asia, right? In South America, I'd have to do some looking into it, but I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, is it the CONMEBOL or is that one of their domestic competitions? I'm drawing a blank right now. Um, I mean, there's the Copa America, right? And then obviously World Cup qualifying, but it's just like this gives Lebanon a chance. It just gives you more chances to potentially win a trophy, and not be judged solely. Hey, you need to qualify for the World Cup because again, we're 108th in the world right now. I'm not sure if Lebanon. I'll have to do some research. I'm not sure if Lebanon's ever qualified for a World Cup or not. I know they haven't won anything according to FM internationally, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've never qualified. I mean, that would be the ultimate goal, right? Qualify for a World Cup. We'd probably get smashed, but qualify, or at least, make a run in the Arab Cup or the Asian Cup, right? And again, try to build up our reputation. And then one day, if there's a bigger international job that comes along, that'd be great. But if not, that's fine. But again, that is the goal. Well, it says it's at 100%, but we're still okay. Now we're down. I don't know what it's doing. All right, it's loaded up 100%, and now we're down to 30%. So we'll give it another moment. I do know because I played around a little bit with international management. I was in Bolivia, which I kind of wish I had saved that file and I had done that save because that was a lot of fun. Didn't qualify for the World Cup, and was a team we were just doing a lot of friendlies, and it was a team that I thought was coming along and we were having some success. Also played a little bit with Syria, who's also going to be competing in Asia, and that was some fun too. But then I just thought, you know what, Lebanon's never won anything, and similar to what I managed at club. Oh, there we go. We finally are ready to go. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we defeated Yemen 3-0 in the Asian Cup qualifiers. We also beat Bhutan. We now have Macau from China, on the 5th of September. And then the 9th, we take on Brunei. On the road. Then we have China at home in a friendly, Yemen on the road. And then Bhutan at home, and then Mauritania on the road. So we only have one, competitive home match in our next 3. No, wait, no, next 4. Yes, 3 of our next 4, international competitions are on the road. Okay. So yeah, you have the International Arab Cup qualified round, and you have the Asian Nations Cup qualifying round. Okay. Welcome to the Lebanese setup. They point us. What are their expectations? Reach the group stage of the Arab Cup. Okay, Algeria is the current one. There's 23 national teams, and that is in November of 2025. Right, we're going to decline the squad induction. We'll decline this. Well, I'm trying to see. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so right now we are in first place. We have. Well, it's kind of weird that I took over, right? But hey, we're in first place. We played twice. We have 6 points. We have Yemen, Brunei, and Bhutan. Only the first place teams advance. Okay. We are, of course, going to play with my standard 3-4-3. I love this tactic. I'm a huge believer in it. All right. I mean, our attack looks really good. I do apologize in advance for the mispronouncing any and all these names. Certainly not intentional, but Girardi, 32 years old, 26 caps, 3 goals. You know, little. That's kind of my fear, is that we're going to be an old team. Well, okay, never mind that. Sammy Merhaig, 6'1" striker, 8 caps, 6 goals, 18 years old. Okay, Sammy's definitely going to be a big part of this team. Chakroon at 20, plays for Hanover, 96, a squad player. Okay. So 2/3 of our attack is actually pretty young. And then the back half kind of looks like trash. Sorry. Our keeper looks okay. Gibran Lahoud, 31 years old. Okay, I mean, it's not awful, but doesn't look super duper impressive either. Sabra, 33 years old, 2.5 stars. Okay. Michel, 31 years old, 6'4", gives you some good height at center back, 13 strength. Sukar, backup striker, 29, also really good. It's never actually appeared in the national team. That's interesting. Matar, 29-year-old backup keeper. Okay. The 35-year-old defensive midfielder. Great passing, though. He does have great passing. Ali Tinic, also pretty good passing, 5'10", 33 years old. So we have some older defensive midfield options. Don't see any backup wingbacks. We're gonna have to try to address that, because these guys are asked to run a lot, and that is not going to work out very well. Happy with the attack. Pretty happy with the goalkeeping situation. Let's take a look at our nation. Okay, so we obviously have a bunch of coaching openings. No major honors. Lebanon played the Asian Confederation. Their soccer federation was founded in 1935. They are currently 108th in the world rankings. They play their home games at Camille Cherbourg Sports City Stadium in Beirut. They are famously known as the Cedars and have a fierce rivalry with Syria. They are previously experiencing growth and development that has unfortunately faded in more recent times. Well, all of the conflicts in the region and in the country kind of help explain that, I would imagine. So if we just look at the squad overall, Ataya has made 56 caps. Faour has made 58 caps. And Khalil has made 58 caps. So, and Alzine has made 55 caps. So, not a ton of international stars. Merhaig obviously is just 8 caps. If we go into the youth setup, the under 23s, do we have? Okay, that is awful. You see the only wingback we have on the under 23s. Okay, no, we have Abbas Balut. I mean, he might just have to come up. I mean, he's not that great. But again, unless there's an undecided dual national who wants to come in, he might just have to. I mean, we look really Hussein Sablini. Yeah. Okay, 19-year-old defensive midfielder. Mohammed, box-to-box midfielder, deep line playmaker. Okay, he could potentially come up and give us a little bit of youth in the midfield. Again, wingers, I think we're going to be okay. Can Ali play? Okay, Ali can play a little bit, as a wingback as well. Okay, so we do have a couple on the under 23s who we could maybe bring up. Hotit, and he's just a fullback. Hamoudi, 20-year-old. I mean, again, I'm not expecting to see world beaters or anything here, but another decent striker potential. Mahmoud Elzenj. I mean, we'd like to see the strength be better, but Barkeed Hadi to tackling are decent for a youngster. Yeah. So not the most impressive, national team. But then again, we're 108th in the world right now. We've never actually won anything. We do know that we are lacking depth there. And we do have, basically a month until we take on Macau on the road. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this initial episode here. We're going to create adverts for all these jobs. And then we will kind of come back if anything big happens, potentially for, adding staff, potentially if there are those, dual nationals who are like, hey, I wouldn't mind competing for Lebanon. Now, Lebanon is just regionally known, which again fits with me as a manager because I am regionally known. We are making 4.1 thousand euros, and this is obviously our first job. So thank you, everybody. And we will see how Leith Dubois and Lebanon's journey here on FM26 go. And I will be back with episode 2 shortly. All right, so we're back. It's the 14th of August, 2025, where we have a couple of potential decisions to make. We do have a good response to the head physio. Now, one of the things that just kind of drove me a little bit insane in the last little bit off camera was almost all of our staff, if they're not a Lebanese national, everybody else is from Malaysia. Which, okay, I did expect to have a bunch of Spanish and Portuguese people who wanted to come in, right? Or Egyptians or Moroccans or I didn't expect that, but I thought there'd be a couple. But it's like the game has decided, well, you're either gonna hire a Lebanese guy or a woman, or you're gonna hire a Malaysian. Like, there's nobody else. Which is whatever, but it's a little bit weird to me. Rami is going to get it. He's terrible at it. He's absolutely terrible. He's unsuited. But, there is a thing where, for a lot of people, you want your national team to be represented by, people from your nation, sometimes as coaches, and which I get. And so we are going to try to balance it out a little bit to where if those are my only two options, a Lebanese national or a Malaysian, I'm not going to shy away from hiring the Malaysian, but at the same time, I do think it makes some sense to try to, have as many, people claiming Lebanese descent, on your national staff as possible. Now, Omar Sabag is Lebanese and Canadian, 22-year-old right defender. Now, he cannot play wingback, right? All he could play is there. But because I'm not sure about her depth, and he does accept the call up, um, as he can become a regular of the Cedars squad. So the one thing I will say, um, as well, is the press conference where I was introduced. The media talked about the fact that this is an old team, and how are we going to balance that? Um, so by bringing him in, at least he's 22. He's another younger player who could potentially be something for us. Remy does accept the job as the head physio. Average response to our fitness coach. Again, just give me somebody from somewhere else, please. Just one guy or girl. I don't care. Israel. Hey, look at that. We actually have somebody. Like, and he's reasonable at it. Again, I've tried to have a diverse coaching staff, and I also realistically, is it realistic that so many Malaysian coaches would want to go to Lebanon? I mean, maybe. To me, that seems a little weird, but I suppose it's possible. How many coaches do we could have? 4 coaches, because we have a fitness coach, we have a goalkeeping coach. I know we're not going to get the set piece coach, so we could have 4 people. Eddie wants the job. Okay. Ooh, and he actually coaches Eddie. Eddie's familiar with my tactics, so Eddie will come in. Okay, here we go. Subham from India, 31 years old. He's competent at everything. He's got very good adaptability and authority. That's an option. Okay. Do we have any? I'm trying to see if we have any Lebanese people. Iranian. Okay. So here we go. See, we're seeing a little bit of diversity of our applicants. Not a lot, but a little bit. Okay, Mohammed Said. Okay, he knows a little bit of the 5-3-2 or 3-4-3, so we will offer him a job as a coach. So that's 2. Sean doesn't know, but you know what? He's reasonable and elite adaptability. And then, okay, I've already offered Eddie an opportunity. And then Subham, very good adaptability. And we will bring him in as well. So those are our 4 coaches. And that's where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you, everybody. And we'll probably play the friendly off camera, but we'll come back for Brunei, the Asian Cup qualifiers.